Unsolicited Nick Pics, Part 4.
Volume 4.
Volume 4.
Volume
I like that, actually. Volume, yeah. Yeah, that really is. That's kind of the thing right now, right?
4. I don't know.
Better than chapter, better than episode.
Yeah.
Volume feels right.
Yeah.
I wonder what'll be next.
Iteration.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're wrong. Who knows?
I'm always wrong.
I feel that. So, we weren't able to sit down and record for a bit there. Just life so it's hectic. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Earlier in December, we got together though.
We did.
We watched a movie that you are quite well acquainted with.
We're on a run of Nick picks. I guess that's a spoiler, isn't it?
Yes.
Ahead of
Yeah. Well, you know what? As soon as they hear the name of the movie, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. If they're like me and they haven't seen it, they must have heard of it. I'll be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But the movie's name is
Black Christmas.
Black Christmas.
And not the early 2000s one and not the 2019 one, which are both bad. The 1974 one, which is good.
The 2019 one stars someone that I recognize.
Ooh.
I don't remember.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember who's in it. The early 2000 one has Michelle Trachtenberg and what's the lady from Scott Pilgrim?
Oh,
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Okay. I think the 2019 one has what's his name? Robin Hood from Robin Hood and Men in Tights.
Carrie Ellis.
Yeah. From The Princess Bride.
And Saw.
Yes, and Saw.
And one episode of Seinfeld.
He's in an episode of Seinfeld.
Yes.
Huh.
I just watched.
Of course, you're catching up with Seinfeld.
True.
Yeah, I'm watching The Simpsons currently.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a bunch of references that don't make sense that we'll throw in and we'll get mad at each other for not knowing them.
Yeah.
Well, I won't know yours, you'll know mine.
Some of them.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I don't have a brain for that. So hopefully someone out there understands my pain when I say, like, I can watch a show.
Yeah.
Like The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on season 8 right now in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding, not that bad. But I am on season 8. And I'm like, I love it. I genuinely enjoy it. I don't remember a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember anything. I could probably go back and start over again. I don't remember it. Like, it's like watching it for the first time. I'd be like, oh yeah.
Right.
But like, especially like lines and like little quips, nothing. Nope. That just falls on my brain.
See, you're working on a PhD though and learning lots of things. I have nothing else except movie quotes and trivia in here. That's all that exists in here. And basketball trivia.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And you're filling it up with like such fun information.
Yeah.
Like, I do like the stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
But if I didn't like the stuff I was doing, I'd be jealous. You mark my words. I would be jealous. I am kind of jealous.
You shouldn't be. It's torture.
By the end of this evening, I will come up with a joke on your shirt.
Yeah.
About your shirt. Using your shirt.
Challenge accepted. So we should talk about this movie.
Yes. I already got off on it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me, because I know nothing. I watched it, I liked it, but I know nothing.
Yep.
Give me some info.
So Black Christmas is actually a Canadian film from 1974.
Mm-hmm.
It's often, Halloween is often credited as being the first slasher movie. But I think this movie deserves the title of the first slasher movie, and maybe you can call it a proto-slasher, since it doesn't have all the elements that you would come to expect from a true slasher movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a horror movie centered around Christmas at a sorority house. It's directed by Bob Clark, who went on to make another very famous Christmas movie, A Christmas Story.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and it's funny because he made this movie, and I think he made another movie called Deranged, which was an Ed Gein movie.
Right.
But then after this, he made Porky's and A Christmas Story, and then one other dumb comedy movie that you're like, oh yeah, sure, I guess. But it is funny how he transitioned from this to comedy. Although this does have some humor in it as well. Black
Yeah.
Christmas.
Definitely had me chuckling a few times.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember any spots.
No,
but
that's fair.
I'm sure we'll hit them all as
Yeah.
we go. I didn't know we did Porky's. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Porky's, that was like probably... I watched the movie at the right time.
You know, I've never actually seen Porky's.
Really? I remember my friend's dad had a copy of it. And we watched it when we were like 12.
Okay. Right.
And I was like... For me, that was like the right time to watch it. I was like...
Yeah.
Whoa. That's crazy. Looking back on it, very creepy movie.
Yeah. That's right.
A podcast I listened to with some comedians, they were recently...
This is the only movie podcast, I thought, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. No, but the podcast I'm referring to is a comedy podcast.
Oh, okay.
But the guy was like, if you have a hard time understanding what rape culture is, he's like, imagine Porky's.
Oh.
And like how that was like normalized here. And I was like,
Right.
whoa, that is such a good way of putting it. Because it is creepy. Like, it generally is creepy in some spots, but it's also fucking hilarious.
Right.
And when you're 12,
Yeah.
in the early 2000s,
It doesn't.
you don't know anything.
Right. Yeah.
You're just enjoying it.
Yeah.
That's my experience with Porky's. Loved it.
Yeah. That's why it's always important to contextualize movies.
So right.
Context.
So right. What's the context for a Serbian film?
You know, pushing the boundaries is all. It can be very artistic as well. What can we get away with and still be considered, you know, not
Art?
Yeah. I'm. It's not.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I can't. I just can't.
But
yeah.
Black Christmas. So going back to that slasher, the movie kind of opens with a first person, and this movie has lots of first person point of view shots of someone kind of sneaking in through the lattice into the attic of a sorority house, and from there it kind of unfolds of this drama. I mean, it's obviously the thriller horror, but of the girls in the sorority house are kind of missing, and who's doing it, and kind of it's a pretty quiet small town, so it kind of is shaking the whole community, and yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed how much of it actually takes place in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, again, I think this kind of comes back to, as you were kind of saying, like, as a proto-slasher, where you have a very, let me step back. One of the things I always enjoy about these movies is that you feel very constricted in where your character can move. They can't really get too far away from the main location. Think Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
You know, they're stuck in this little campground. And yeah, like, what's neat is unlike later slashers where the murderer is following them and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, our villain is static.
Yeah.
And then everyone around him is dynamic.
Yes, true.
Which is, I haven't seen, I'm probably missing a bunch of examples, but to me that seems quite unique.
Yeah, no, it definitely is different, and that's the other thing too is like, I mean, Halloween is pretty creepy, but I find personally like most slashers go off the rails from being scary into just being kind of like funny, like fun, good time, like not good time, but like you like the effects, you like, you know, the story can be silly but stupid. Yeah, so this movie though is genuinely, that's the other thing is like I find very few movies genuinely creep me out or scare me, and this movie still does. There's a lot of things about this movie that are genuinely unsettling.
Right. I guess we can get into that because I remember we kind of discussed this while we were watching it.
Yeah.
But like moving into that first kill as it leads up to it, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're sitting around and they get a phone call.
Yes.
And like that happens quite a few times. But,
yeah.
Like what happens with the phone call, I guess.
Yeah. So the girls in the house receive these harassing phone calls, and it's kind of it's played out now that idea, and like obviously the twist in this movie is a twist that was then repeated many times with, I mean, I won't say it right now, but like the twist was repeated, but they get phone calls that are like harassing them and saying horrifying things, and it's got this really creepy voice, and like the way that they layer the voice and make the noise, like I can't even tell if, you know, when they're recording it was one person, but it really is genuinely unsettling and disturbing. Like, Billy, it sounds like it's kind of scary.
Yeah, and he's like screaming and like crying and
Yeah.
laughing. The
Yeah.
laughter's so creepy.
Yeah.
Oh my god! If you haven't watched it, I really recommend even just like YouTubing some of the phone calls. It's actually like genuinely creepy. Kind of like when you hear the what's it called? The recording of the famous recording of the girl getting exercised.
Oh, I don't.
You know?
know.
Oh, it's like you can find on YouTube. It's like
Okay.
girls screaming and like laughing or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, reminiscent.
Right.
But yeah, so I was gonna actually ask you next. Like, do you know like how they did those phone calls? Was it just like impromptu? Was it planned out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure, to be honest.
Mhm.
I would assume that they wrote it probably, like, it probably wasn't entirely improvised, but to me, it sounds like a lot of techniques being used. Like, it's not just someone using their voice. Like, there has to be some other elements to it, even if it's just like them doing different voices and then kind of overlapping them or cutting them together.
Mhm.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was one person. If so, that's very impressive, honestly. Because yeah, it changes tone, pitch, and cadence so much that it's creepy.
It is really creepy. Yeah, it's fun. It's a very fun movie.
Yes.
So I guess not to like jump too much around, but we have this household.
Yeah.
And then one by one, these individuals in the house are getting picked off.
Yeah.
No one knows who's doing it,
or even where they are. Because
Yeah.
they don't even know they die for a long time. They don't find the bodies.
They think a lot of them are leaving and just not coming back.
Yeah.
I was quite tired when we watched it, so
Yeah.
a little bit of it's fuzzy, but I know
Yeah.
like there was like some parents were coming in and out of the picture, boyfriends,
Yeah.
girlfriends coming out of the picture.
Yeah. So it's like they call them missing because they don't find any of the bodies. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so then they go on this kind of citywide hunt because one of the girls is missing, and they find a dead kid, which kind of alerts everyone. The kid who has not been in the movie or has nothing to do with anything. It's just a dead kid. So then it makes people start taking it more seriously and trying to find out what's going on. So then they decide to start tracking the calls, and that's kind of like the cops are like, okay, we'll track the calls, and you just need to stay on the line long enough so that we know where the calls are coming from. So that kind of becomes the driving force of like trying to keep the guy on the phone for long enough to track where he is. But it's tough. It's like a long time. And then it's like, is it the boyfriends? Because the boyfriends are all acting crazy, and
Right.
classic boyfriends getting crazy.
Classic. We've all been there. I don't want to jump back into too much, but I was gonna say I really did like how the finding the girl's body is what kickstarted it.
Yeah.
Because it's you were saying I didn't catch it at first, but it's mentioned at the beginning of the movie, and then it's really just like this kind of event that kicks everything into place. It's good writing. Like it blends so well into the movie. You don't notice that there's like some triggering event. It feels very natural almost, even though it's such a scary and horrible event. Very well put together.
It is, and that's the other thing too, is because like it doesn't, even though it is kind of a slasher movie, it doesn't have the rules that were pre-established, so it does feel different and also like a good kind of thriller movie, drama movie as well. And I guess that's the other part about it. So while all this is going on, there is a lot of relationship drama between specifically the main girl and her boyfriend. What's the main girl's name? I'm gonna look it up. Otherwise, it's
do it.
gonna
No,
drive
do
me
it.
crazy.
They do go through quite a bit, and when we were watching it was so fun to watch because you're kind of in this zone. You're enjoying the movie because it's what would later become known as a slasher.
Jess.
Jess. Okay.
And her boyfriend.
You're watching this movie. You're following Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Her friends are dying. They're dying. She doesn't. So you're kind of like on your edge of your seat trying to deal with that. But then at the same time, you're hit with like realness.
Yes.
Because I know people murder each other. That happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been murdered. I don't know someone was murdered.
Yeah.
To me, that's not real.
Yeah.
But I have been through relationships and had relationship problems. Like you get that burst of reality. So it's very two things occurring at once, kind of smashing heads. kind of kept your mind active the whole time.
Yeah, and also it's not like, and I think looking, when you really think about it too, that element, that relationship element, is actually really strong. Because normally, and not to throw other movies under the bus, and you can spin anything in a lot of interesting ways, but it's not like, oh, the boyfriend cheated on her and so they're fighting. It's like she's pregnant and she wants to not have the baby and he wants her to have the baby, and then it causes stresses for him at a big performance to become a classically trained musician at a conservatory, so it leads to real drama that it feels palpable, and both those actors do a great job of conveying that, and that's the other thing. And for 1974, to be honest, I do think this movie is awesome, and especially its depiction of her being no, fuck that, I'm not having a baby. I don't want a baby. I have hopes and dreams. So I appreciate that about this movie.
That's the first time I've ever heard the words "I have hopes and dreams" cut out of your mouth. It was in relation to someone else. It's just a quote.
That's true. That's the only time you'll catch it. Quoting someone else.
I'm just joking. Yeah, no, I loved it. They introduced so much conflict.
Yeah.
And for the time, it was powerful. I remember because I was looking up stuff after the movie, and for some reason I got on the topic of abortion, and I ended up reading about kind of the original, or that one image from the 60s or 70s that kind of kick-started the whole let's end, back alley abortion. It's horrific image. I don't suggest anyone look it up, but powerful.
Yeah.
And they for a horror, nowadays, if you were to deal with abortion in a horror movie, it'd be kind of sick, oh, spooky, you know what I mean? But in this movie, it actually feels like it's not even commentary. It's just kind of
powerful.
Yeah, it's here's the situation. So it was handled well. It wasn't preachy, and it wasn't anything. It was just here's the situation.
Yeah,
there you go.
It feels real.
Yeah, it feels real.
Yeah.
So big fan of that.
Yeah.
Loved how they handled it. The scene in the conservatory when the boyfriend smashes the piano was so good.
Him freaking out over the abortion thing too is also very well done.
Yes.
He seems crazy, and then he clearly becomes the most notable suspect for everybody to be the killer.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, that's if they suspect him. I didn't say whether he is or not.
We're gonna get a spoiler.
Yeah. Blanket spoil. This movie's from 1974.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
And as I said, if you've never seen this movie and you can hear us talk about calls and girls in the house, you can probably already imagine what the twist is. Actually, we kind of already spoiled it.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing is the movie. It's not a spoiler because you know from the very start who it is.
No.
But he's always in the attic. You never.
But you don't know if he's coming in or out of the attic.
I guess so.
Anyways, the boyfriend freaking out, which leads the audience to think that he is killing everyone. That was cool.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's he doesn't start freaking out until partway through the movie.
Yeah.
People have already died. It's obviously not him.
Yeah.
But they do a good job when you forget that.
Yeah.
The other thing I really liked that is totally separate as well was when he was playing the piano recital.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if it was good or bad, but it just reminded me because he was so confident in it. It reminded me of that Fred Armisen scene from The Last Man show where he plays. I can't remember the song name, but it's so funny. You haven't watched it? Please watch it. It's so funny.
You're playing it half the time. You're he's going like this, and it's you're is it good or bad? I don't know. He's playing hard.
Is it some sort of weird abstract atonal music piece, or does he just suck?
I think he sucks.
I think so. But yeah, and again, it's centered around Christmas, the time of year.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something. I don't know why. I don't know why they pick Christmas. Probably to do with the Christmas break where people start to leave. But it also works so well for some reason.
I mean, honestly, The other thing about this, like, you know, to put this movie kind of, especially in the Canadian context, because at that time, a lot of movies were being made called tax shelter movies, which were ways for, and I don't know how to even describe it, but like people could invest in movies and then not pay taxes on the income made from them or something through some incentive of the government, some government incentive allowed for what they called tax shelter movies, which what tax shelter movies were, and this is how David Cronenberg got his start as well, making tax shelter movies. But like, and that's why there's so many comedies that are Canadian, like Porky's and Meatballs or whatever, because like they just needed money. All they literally cared about, it was like people funneling money and like trying to make as much money as possible. So it had nothing. So they probably were like Christmas, like that's people know about Christmas and we can like counter program it. I mean, well, that's why they still make Christmas horror movies because of that. Because there's going to be Grinches. I'm a Grinch. You're not a Grinch.
I'm the Grinch or the Gunch.
I'm the Gunch, yeah.
You're the Gunch.
But who are like, I don't want to watch Christmas movies. I want to watch scary movies. And then they make scary Christmas movies, and you're like, okay, I'll watch those.
Yeah.
And I do. I watch all of them.
I'll put up with Christmas lights.
Yeah.
I actually love Christmas. So
Yeah.
whatever. The opposites and yet the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's I didn't know about the tax shelter thing. I'm not gonna pretend to understand how that works. But
Neither do I. I feel like I should. That's also why there's so many Canadian slasher movies like My Bloody Valentine and Prom Night, and like all those movies are all tax shelter movies because they were just like trying to turn a buck as quick as they could.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's true. I know, and they're all
I'm
gems.
so thankful for
I know,
them.
they're so good.
No, they're so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say we looked up the murders that this was inspired by.
Yeah.
Because the movie's shot in Toronto.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of it's shot at U of T, which
very familiar with.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah.
But that was cool to see.
Yeah.
That was cool to spot. Like, whoa, that's that archway, whatever. So that was neat. So it's shot in Toronto or in and around Toronto.
Yeah.
Makes sense for the time. But it's based off of a triple murder in Montreal in the 60s, right?
Right. Something, yeah.
Yeah, so very cool. I don't know how close it is. I didn't really get too much into it. It's just a neat fact, and then I moved on.
Yeah.
No, so that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I like about this movie too is like so that voice is really creepy and the kind of the drama of the characters is interesting, but it also going like the imagery is really creepy, and like one of the probably the most iconic shot from the movie, which still is one of the like it's so simple and it's so effective, but the rocking chair, the girl with the bag over her head on the rocking chair, as she's dead and she's in a rocking chair and it's rocking back and forth and she's got a plastic bag over her face, and the way it's just shot and like it's so creepy, it literally is like makes my skin crawl.
Agreed.
Yeah. And actually the tagline for this movie was, if your skin doesn't crawl, it's on too tight.
Oh, whoa, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I'm willing, but you have a t-shirt that says that?
There's a company called Body Bags Horror or Body Bags Printing, and they make like horror themed shirts, and they just put out a Black Christmas one that I've been like looking at. I didn't get it.
You should.
I know, and it has that bag image like on the front and the.
Is it a cool guy shirt?
It is a cool guy shirt. It's the same company that did The Thing.
Oh,
the thing shirt I have.
You should get it. You should.
I know.
God, it just fits. It fits perfectly. Yeah, I was gonna say, the girl in the rocking chair. They keep going back to it, and I was thinking, quite a few times you see her in front of the window in the attic.
Yeah.
And you see her face.
Yeah.
But the positioning of the attic window is such that it sits like in the middle of the house, and so if you're anywhere on the street, you can't see the window. The window really is just a view outside. So no one would ever see her. No one would ever see her because there's no buildings, no big tall buildings around there at the time. It's all just houses, and no one has a drone in 1974. So there's just this body in front of the window,
and it's clear as day.
And you just
no one can see it.
No one's ever gonna see it.
Yeah.
So that was really neat. very, again, not like scary,
Yeah.
just unsettling.
Yeah.
And seeing the close up of her face behind the bag, and you're like,
yeah,
how'd you guys do this in 1974 with like a limited budget?
Yeah.
It looks so good.
It does look good.
Really puts you off.
Yeah. And then the other one thing I like about it too, which again, and then every slasher movie, even after Halloween, like Halloween and onwards, it became about like, and I love cool designed creatures and monsters, and I love Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers, but in this movie, you never ever once even see the killer.
Right. Yeah.
And like, that also feels to me more. It's really creepy still to me, to be honest. Like, the other ones, again, you see them and you're like, oh, or like Slumber Party Massacre, it's like the dude in the red shirt, and like he's creepy looking, but it doesn't make me go like, "Wah," right? But in this movie, you never see him, and it just like, ugh, it's creepy. I love this movie.
Well, it's like it could be anyone.
Yes.
But at the same time, because the only interaction you get with the killer is from the first person perspective, it's like, wait, am I the killer?
Right.
It could be anyone.
Yeah.
And because it could be anyone, it could be you, and you're like, whoa, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so well shot.
Yeah.
I don't know what is intentional and what is not, because I'm sure like there's something about, oh, we didn't want to show the killer because it would make people use their imaginations, and that's scarier.
Yeah.
Like, as trite as that is, like, it's very true. And that definitely is part of it.
But also, it's probably cheaper than to like try and come up with something scary, right? Because it's like, if we just do this, then we don't even have to like worry. Like, we don't need makeup, we don't need anything like this. We don't have to make this guy look scary. Like, we'll just fucking forget it. So it's possible that they were just like, don't worry about that. It'll be fine.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But it works. It works
beautifully.
so well. No, just incredible. Shot beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful cinematography.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. I love the set.
Yeah, the house is really nice.
The house is so great.
And
So good for that type of movie.
And there's a lot of really nice shots kind of just like establishing the geography of the house and the stairs, which is where a lot of kind of the film's interaction takes place. So there's lots of like, interesting angles through banisters and stuff that just really, paint an image of the house very vividly.
Exactly. And like, I'm going to go on a bit of a thing here. I apologize, but you have, again, it's quite a constricted movie. Again, they move around. There's stuff outside the house, but a lot of the movie is shot inside that house.
Yeah.
And as you're saying, there's a lot of really cool camera angles and vantage points, and you really start to get to know the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really get to know the space, which is pretty unique in the movie. And the other thing I liked is you'd see things in the setting, and normally, or at least not normally then, but like now when you watch a movie, like let's say the new Halloween Kills, and you see the banister, and you're like, oh, Michael Myers is going to kill someone with the banister, and then sure as shit,
he does.
There's an underwhelming death scene.
I think. I know everyone else loved it.
I know what you mean. I agree. There could have been more, especially for what it's was. Anyways, this is it. I feel like at the time. I don't know. But you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And in this one, no. You're getting to know the scenario, not to understand how the killer's going to kill.
Yeah.
It's to get you to understand the space so you can like better picture yourself there.
Yeah, totally.
And what it's like to run around or like walk from room to room, not knowing where your friends are, even though they're above you dead. Right.
That's a really good way of putting it, actually.
You feel at home. You know it at the end. So well done, so well. And I don't know if that's thought out, if that's a plan, or if it just, who knows? But I love it. Yeah, I love it. It just, you really feel it.
One thing that I always, I'm gonna get my critical hat on. You never need to ascribe intent to an author. You just, what they have is what they made is what they made, and it doesn't. I don't even care what they wanted to do with it. It doesn't. It's mine now because I watched it and I get to choose what I took away.
Yeah, okay. No, I agree. And again, this gets back to like a struggle I always have with the way people discuss movies.
Mm-hmm.
When they put so much
emphasis.
not emphasis, but they provide each character with so many ideas and thoughts and the ability to like think and solve and like interact with the world. And you're like, no,
have critical thinking.
Essentially, there's another word I'm looking for. I can't remember it. Agency.
Okay.
They give each character agency. It's like no. Each character is written.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is just different perspectives of the same writer.
Yes.
Same writer writing team.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, the world you view is your own world. So if I see a character, like it doesn't matter what someone else intended, as you said. It's how I see it. That said, no one cares about what I think. So
I do.
Who cares what I think the guy's gonna do?
I care.
But I know exactly what you mean. But it really your idea of applying your own intention really buttresses my other idea of like just it's what the creator wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Which one wins? I don't know. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think and I've also, this movie I feel like has grown in appreciation a lot over the past few years. Like maybe I'm just inventing that because I love it, but I feel like the community at large, the film going community, has like grown to really like this movie. And I mean, it got two remakes made of it, which honestly says a lot because like there's probably so many movies from that time that got made that everyone's forgotten about, that were just super generic, totally boring, right? And like so many, but this one stood the test of time, even though it's like a no budget, weird Canadian, like nobody saw it horror movie, and yet here we are and talking about it in 2021, and there was just a remake, and like people love it. This movie.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. The whole, I'm really torn on the whole remake thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like everyone else. I think it's too much right now. But I mean, this thing's out in 1974.
Yeah.
Nothing until the early 2000s. Nothing until 2019. Like there's obviously like a consistent interest.
Yeah.
So that is really good to see. It's better than what we got with Friday the 13th, where it's just like a
non-stop cycle of garbage.
Well, no, very good.
Yeah.
And it really peaked with Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't care what anyone says, that is the best. And then, and then like, Jason X, he's not that cool. He's not that cool.
David Cronenberg's in it.
Too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
And then, I mean, he has to go to space. Sick.
Yeah.
And then we got the new one with the guy from Supernatural. Nah.
I mean, I'm not inherently opposed to remakes, is what I would say. I'm not opposed to them in premise. Very few of them end up being good, but I don't know. I'm not like.
I bet you like Dune.
The new one?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that a remake of the movie, or is that a new adaptation of a novel?
That's a good point.
Because, like, I would say bears very little resemblance to the original.
Yes. You don't ask me. I'm dumb, dude. I don't know. I think it's bears, but
that makes sense.
We'll say bears.
Bears.
Yes. That's probably whatever you want it to be. Yeah, I really liked the original Black Christmas. I don't know if I want to see the 2000 or the 2019 one. I kind of watch the 2019 one just because I think that'd be fun.
The 2019 one is like wild. It's so. It is almost worth seeing just for how like crazy it is, and not in like a super good way, but in a way that you're like, what? It's totally different from the original. Like, other than it's about college girls.
Hell yeah.
That's like the two things that are similar about them.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember because like I watched it at the height of the pandemic when literally like life was just a blur, and like I literally was doing nothing but like sitting at home and drinking and watching movies. So I remember very little about it, but I remember after watching it, what the fuck was that? Like, what in the world even was that? So maybe worth visiting, and we can.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
Yeah.
That sounds artistic.
It does.
I I guess that is the other side of a low budget horror movie that's just made to try and make some money. Sometimes you just get
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it. The music.
Yeah.
Tell me about the music, because you know what? I don't remember the music.
Well, I was gonna say, honestly, it's not something that stands out for me a lot in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to. This is maybe. Is there even a score?
You know what? No, there definitely is.
Okay.
There definitely there has to.
Okay.
Yeah, there must be.
Okay.
I know I heard music.
Yeah.
And again, I have a horrible memory, but for the life of me, I can't, like, whenever I remember that movie in my head, it's like silent
I know.
with just like voices.
There's the Carolers. And
Yes.
There's the song he plays on the piano. This is
You
maybe.
know the song.
Yeah. See, I feel like though, even if there isn't, the fact that it's like downplayed, I think is still really effective. And again, leads to that creepy atmosphere that kind of like music kind of makes a movie feel more movie-ish, you know. But this it is very. If there is music, it's very subtle. And the ending, there's definitely not music at the ending. The ending is also very scary.
Yeah.
The last shot, and even once the credits roll, there's no music, and it's
Can I
like,
be honest?
yeah.
I don't remember the ending. Can you tell me?
Sure. Okay. So major spoiler. Okay. Let's just talk about the end. Spoilers, big time. So the calls are coming from inside the house.
The calls are coming from inside the house.
Shocking, right? I know, which feels so quaint now.
Yeah.
But it at the time was probably very scary.
Mm-hmm.
So Jess is the only one of the sorority girls left alive, the main hero, the last girl, the final girl, if you will. And her boyfriend comes over, but she believes he's the killer because of how weird he's been acting about her regarding this abortion, and kind of he's been very controlling of well, you're going to do this, and very, very weird and not chill about it. So she suspects that he could be the killer. So to defend herself, she kills him. She attacks him and kills him. And then everyone is like, oh, well, he must have been the killer. And at this point, the movie is kind of tricking the audience as well, because you've seen the first person view and you aren't 100% sure who was in the house and who wasn't. But Jess is laying in bed, and then the cop is with her, and the dad of one of her friends is there, but they all get kind of taken away. One of them has to go to the hospital. One of them has to go, the cop has to answer questions for the press, all this stuff. So she's alone in the bed, and then there's a cop watching outside the house, but the camera kind of and this is honestly one of my favorite parts of the movie. It shows her sleeping in the bed, and then the camera just moves out of the room, and then it pans over to every room in the house, and they're all empty. And then it cuts to the attic, and the phone starts ringing, and then it just zooms out slowly, and then the credits just roll. It's so good. Yes. It's so scary.
That is really creepy.
Oh, it's so good. I love that ending.
It is really good. I just remember, I have the staircase burned into my brain.
Yeah.
From all the characters standing on it and running on it.
Yeah.
I have that, and then the initial shot when it's zooming out at the end.
Yeah.
So good. It's so spooky.
Yeah. Spooky
movie. It's really good. The more you explain it to me and get it through my thick skull, I'm like, fuck, that is so good. I feel like I can almost start to appreciate it when you explain it to me. I'm like, that's stupid. There wasn't enough blood.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody's insides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna make a joke about him wanting her to not get an abortion, but I forgot what it was. Okay. Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've covered the movie.
Yeah.
I went on a bunch of stupid tangents that mean nothing.
Me too.
We talked about the background, where this movie came from.
Yeah.
We talked about where it was shot.
Yeah.
All very cool.
Yeah.
We discussed our favorite scenes, the murders and how they inspired other movies, and then a memorable soundtrack.
Yes.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's a fair bet.
Yeah. Do you? I guess Nick, to reiterate, is this Nick-tastic?
Absolutely. It's not a top 5 movie. It's a top 5 horror movie of all time for me.
So this has big Nick energy.
It has huge Nick energy. Huge Nick energy.
We have to change our name to HME.
Yeah, big Nick energy. It's got a big Nick
It's
energy.
got- Okay, right here.